Alright guys, this is Tarquin coming back with another episode of A Clash of Kings. We are on day 1702, and a whole lot of Dornishmen are laying siege to the Planky Town, and we have some trash units at the bottom that we brought over from Sunspear as a hopeful stopgap, but well, this is either going to go alright or it's going to go terribly, because, well, all the Lords of Dorne pretty much are here, or many of them, and Vortimer Crane's showing up for it, and it looks like Parquello Valerios, I think that was him, because okay, yeah, because he recently just started fighting for Dorne. He used to be a bannerman of mine, of course, but he had a debauched personality. And alright, 342 against 2,088. We're just going to go ahead and do this. Now, because I know the geography of this scene, I know it's going to take them a long time to get in. We're going to have to make the way up the tower, and then they're going to run through a field of fire and then still be getting killed as they're on top of the ladders. I believe they will be going for this second ladder right here, so I need to actually... yeah, I'll take this position either way. I'll be able to strike men as they attempt to come up and take the fight to our men. But we're seeing a bunch of kills dropping in, but not as many as I would like. But hopefully a lot of shields are being broken and that sort of thing. And there we go, losing a man to a Dornish archer, another one knocked out by a mounted Dornish archer, their equivalent of knights, and they have great weapon skills, great armor, really scary, and actually, wow, a lot of my men getting killed here, and, well, this might be a defeat. But it all comes down to what I do on this ladder, which is right there, take way too much damage. Alright, they are going to go for this ladder first then, which means, please, please let me get around you. No, 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 I really need to. And falling down, that is the best red to see in a siege battle. That is tense though, and I just want to get around to this side of my men so that I can take these cheap shots over the Merlin and spear them as they come in closer, and able to get that heavy reach knight kill, and there's a stealth sword that will never be selling his sword again. And there we go, several nice strikes in a row, and proving that all you need is a Valyrian steel sword and 300 plus weapon proficiency to really get it moving, and there we go. Ah, so victorious am I, and such murdering going on here, and I actually think that we can hold it, because if they can't even get on top of the walls for half of a second, then, oh man, look at that. An Ironborn Retainer, so Victarion Greyjoy must be here as well. I'm unaware of anyone else of the Ironborn that fights for Dorne, as most of them fight for me. However, I do have a nominal bit of fear that my troops up top are going to get wounded pretty soon, but as soon as we push these men back, I think their next reinforcement wave shouldn't be as huge. And that, of course, makes me quite hopeful, but there we go. The extra little reach from the piercing attack, extremely useful in sieges. And really nice, because you can actually use it over your friends' heads. I'm sure the AI has that ability too, although they rarely choose to exclusively do piercing attacks. And now the rest of their men coming up, and how many reinforcements are we looking at? Okay, there's 130, but we still have knights to deal with here. And unfortunately, Sir Giannis knocked unconscious by a sellsword knight. quite a grave blow. He's a great man on top of the wall. And Sir Medric Waterman, a better man on top of the wall. Gurner Pike, the greatest of us all. And oh man, Golden Company Man-at-Arms can do so much damage. That blunt damage type, their Warhammers, high weapon skills, just really, really scary. Oh, okay. Getting a very, very lucky break there and stepping away from a two-hander instead of taking it full in the face as I was very close to doing. And maybe, actually, we're not going to be able to kill all of these men before their reinforcements arrive. Ah, a moment of peace. But, of course, we have already lost 40 men. And while they have lost 200, I think, actually, yes, that ratio still favors them. Of course, eventually the siege must end, and the more of their elite troops we kill, the easier it'll be on next time, but... And those Sellsword Knights, so fearsome, to the point where I'll turn my back on a Wildling Berserker just because he has an axe, but Sellsword Knights, with blunt damage frequently, and that ubiquitous high weapon skill, 230 in the Sellsword Knights case. But now, at least, it looks like we're getting down to slightly less elite troops, and not going to back out, going to continue fighting until they take me out, and then I imagine that that would be enough to push the siege back another time, but... Oh no! Oh man. So lucky there. Managing to, instead of fall to my death, actually fall right onto a convenient platform below, letting my aggressors get shot. And is that an enemy? No, that's a friend, but I couldn't look at him close enough, and there's going to be a lot of elites in this group too. But we can't show fear, can't back up, certainly. Our men are going to be depending on us to not get captured. My treasury can handle a loss, but my ego cannot, so we're just going to do our best to make sure that we tear them up. But I think we might be fine. We're still on the first reinforcement wave. The problem is that a lot of the archers that are alive now, I think maybe all of them, are no longer useful. Perhaps we should abandon the top of the wall and move our men below, but at the same hand, this really does choke their men up to a great degree and allow us to sometimes get 4 or 5 swords on one man while blocking off the rest, so pretty loath to give up the top of the wall here. And so many nice piercing attack kills there. Oh, piercing damage, my only friend, and that's a Dornish knight, and I would love to kill him before he really wrecks some people's faces. Oh man, so intense, but that is how it is whenever your castles are on the line. I think that was an archer. Yes, it was a veteran archer atop the wall, so luckily they're not too bright, and well, even though we are so close to death, just can't back up. finally seeing some much lower unit quality coming out, and that is great. But of course, with Prince Oberyn here, there are going to be knights in waves for a very long time, and the same goes for Victorian Greyjoy's retainers, who will continue being dangerous for a long time, and just fear the other breach is not going to go as well as the one that I am defending, of course, for many reasons, and I really need to kill that sellsword knight, but oh man, taken out. And what we're going to do is let our men on top fight for a little while. I don't want to retreat if it is still going to be advantageous for us to stay in the battle. We've taken out a lot of their troops, and I think we have enough on top to hold them back for a little while. And it looks like Barangar Perrin is going all smashy with the men coming up on top, and that's great news. Got to love Barangar Perrin, and one-shotting that archer and going to the fight with the rest of them. Of course, his power strike pretty high now, but unfortunately losing a Lothston champion, and now with the rest of our enemies coming in closer, I believe we're going to have to retreat fairly soon. And we lose a ton of people. Oh wow, so many. Almost 100 for 400 enemy casualties. But this time at least we will get to be someone with a bow and arrow. Who misses everything, but and I really can't even take the time to pick targets. The fog makes it sort of hard for me to pick out the armor types, but even if I put an arrow into a shield, it's okay. I'm very soon going to not have time for that at all. But it looks like I took out a mounted skirmisher that time, and that is a good kill. And there is a throwing motion, so I know that's one. Unfortunately, though, missing with that arrow, terrible for me. And now and would you look at that? So many kills coming in for us, and that's so bad. So bad. And what we're seeing on the other side is a veritable horde of ranged units still, which doesn't bode particularly well for us. But now they're here. And pretty much the only thing that we can do is keep swinging, and I mean, technically I could do something smart, like not have shot all those arrows earlier and shoot men in the head as they're up at the top, but I preferred the axe solution better, and it's working out great. I have a good angle. Most of my men are not encroaching on my space, not yet anyway, and of course, with his huge power strike and strength, able to one-shot most people. But that sergeant totally killing my vibe, and not fun for me to not be able to. There we go, that's what we needed. Get out of my way, sergeant. And if only I was super tall and could swing over the heads of the people that get in my way, but unfortunately that is not a mechanic. And I think finally I have a spot here where I can strike at people and no one's going to be able to get in front, but of course things can go wrong. But right now it is just overhand strikes, his two-handed weapons up to 389, totally amazing, and the only question is, will it be enough? but I think actually that we might be able to pull out of this in spite of the terrible odds against us. But we have already lost 20 men or so. They've lost 200, which takes their army size down to about, yeah, 1,600. Which, like Huckleberry Finn says, anything that's 1,000 just means that people don't know how many it is. And it looks like the bulk of that last reinforcing group going up one ladder, and now another group going onto this ladder, so their AI working fine for once. Unfortunately, they were not intelligent enough to not come up the ladder where I was at, and so all these poor scrubs gonna die. Oh, and the killing. And did I just get knocked out? Oh man, I got headshot. 74 damage from a Mountain Archer. Very bad news for me. Very, very strong sense of sadness here. I feel like I might be headed for defeat. I guess we'll just back out. See what we can do next. $214 against 1,544. Will be Martin Snow this time, why not? And just gonna try and make it through this, I guess. One way or another, we're seeing Dornish spearmen, little better than levies, running up here, and it looks like they had some Marcher longbowmen, no idea where they would have gotten them, but they have them, and we're seeing a lot more wildlings and a lot more lower tier troops here, but it's still not going to help us when all of those Dornish archers are still very capable of tearing us into little pieces. And as more of our companions fall in this battlefield, then of course Thor shape will be in. And it is not Valyrian steel, but it will do in a pinch, and the two-handed mace coming into play here, and managing to break some shields, but man, I wish I had the comfort of knowing that I had 100 Unsullied deep in my retinue, but I don't. I don't have 100 Unsullied. I don't even know if I have 100 troops anymore. and one of their men getting kicked very far across the map, so fun stuff for them. And overhand swings with the two-handed long mace. That is how it's done. And unfortunately, though, not being able to prove it to more people due to lousy positioning from my friends, but looks like the Lothston sergeants doing their jobs fine and knocking some folks down, and apparently I can still hit every now and again from this position, so I'm not going to complain too much. And of course my character's still in fine health, and I think, yes, this iteration of the siege is actually going fairly fine right now. I think we got through enough of their elite troops already that we're going to be able to pull this out. That is my hope and dream, but of course, dreams are for people who are sleeping, and I think I need to back up a little bit, but I don't want to lose my spot in line. I don't know how that wildling is still alive. He's on top of everyone. It doesn't seem like anyone's trying to take him out, but there we go. Parrying some nice strikes. Standing foot to foot here, shoulder to shoulder with Garrett Longley. And kicking a whole lot of ass here as Martin Snow. And I don't know how... Okay, that's a sellsword, but I think he's got an axe that makes him much less dangerous than any other kind of one. Or, yes, that is an axe, but I still want to take him out. Hard to do when you're restricted a little bit in movement, but that's just what the breaks are, and really able to put the hurt on these Dornishmen here. And I think it actually let me swing through the wall that time, but I'm not going to keep trying for it. Taking 7 damage from a foe, and, well, I deserve it. And can I actually just swing sideways from here? It might have been from only the one position, but... We're seeing Clavis LeBear, Drollo, Roderick, well, I'm Martin Snow, of course, but we're seeing actually a lot of my companions get a ton of kills up here, and I can only assume that is due to their amazing weapon skills as well. And we're pushing back a lot of enemies, and these don't look nearly as fearsome as our foes from the past. And what we're going to do is not back out and let them continuing to come at us. And looks like that archer has it out for me, but he doesn't know that I will totally break his legs through a stone wall. That's how badass I am. And now, just going to crush some more folks, and man, what a battle this has been. There was a long moment where I thought I was going to lose, but now I think I might have it in hand. It all just depends on how many of my men of quality remain whenever their troops run down just into the veteran range. And I think I'll have enough. Unfortunately, by quickly killing the people on this ladder, we allow the AI to send more people up this ladder, as it does not appear to be clogged. And oh, sigh of relief there, and now getting some people knocked out, but we have killed about 350 people, and we have only taken, well, too many damn casualties, but it'll have to work out. And now, their reinforcements coming in. Not for the first time. I am regretting buffing the Dornish, but I'm glad that I did too, because of course, if they were in their typical state, they're really not anything to be afraid of. But with a bunch of javelins and their skills all jacked up and their armor pimped out, and then pretty soon you have a lot of tough guys who are unfortunately just trying to get into my fucking town. And I thought about running away when I saw how many people were here, when I saw that Oberon Martell was here, but I thought, well, someone could stand to take the Red Viper down a peg or two. Why shouldn't it be me? And I'm just going to hope that I don't have to hope. I have a bow and arrow. It's funny how you can forget things like that in the heat of the moment. But for now, the act's much more important. And killing a levy, which lets you know that some broke-ass dude is here, and they set him up, and we knock him down, and things looking not so rotten here in Denmark, and we are gonna make it, I think. But that sellsword men-at-arms could kill 2 or 3 men if I'm not lucky. I think he took out, yes, he did take out 2 men. He took out a sergeant and an Ironborn retainer veteran, so definitely, well, any 2-for-1 is worth his spot, but that guy acting like a boss, and unfortunately, not enough of my men dead to get reinforcements yet. I don't think. I'm not seeing any come in, but maybe it's just because I don't have any, and I am delusional about how the battle's going. But we're just going to continue killing as we can, and hope to see some reinforcements sometime, because this wall is starting to get a mite thin. But so many of them actually choosing to follow where the melee is rather than where the big guy with the scary mace with all the blood on him is at. And there are my reinforcements. There are my dragons. And they're all going up the side that I don't want them to go up, I think. But, well, I think soon enough there will be time enough for all of us. And, yep. And hell yeah, smashing faces, just what this character was made for. Martin Snow being totally badass and pulling together in a clutch moment. And I think all the members of the Queen's Guard are injured or otherwise indisposed, but That guy getting a parry off there for a second, but it looks like, as I've been thinking for a while, I think we've got this one in the bag more or less. Yes, we've killed 600 men in this siege now. That means they're down to a mere 1,000. Ha 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 ha. How will they ever make it? And we're actually going to hold back just because I don't see any benefit in retreating now. If we kill, I think, maybe 200 more men, then what we should see is them retreating anyway, and then we won't take a morale loss or anything like that, and also it'll make sure that we have time to heal up some of our wounded. Fortunately, though, it seems that almost everyone is down to sergeants at best, and that means that my companions are going to still be able to put on a killing. It's those sellswords with warhammers and maces that I'm most afraid of. But lots of killing going on, totally absurd. Can't wait to see what his kill count is going to be like for this. Don't know why it is only on his shoulders and below. He would be totally spattered in all sorts of terrible gore if this was actually going on. And oh, it just does my heart good to see levies and spearmen on the wall, though, because that means that we are getting down to the bottom of their armies. Ideally, of course, I would like it if I could charge out at them afterwards and defeat them, but really, I don't want Dorne to attack me. I want them to attack the Westerlands. This is just my manner of making them weak after the Westerlands are gone, because, well, they are quite strong as it stands now. And what we're going to see now is, well, hopefully these will be the last reinforcements of theirs, because this will be up to about 700 deaths. But of course, if you can kill the first 500 men in a siege and you still have, you know, just really any amount of very high tier men left, you can usually make it, because the sort of elite man-at-arms and lower ranks are not that great at fighting. I didn't buff them for anybody. And there we go. Thought I wasn't going to get that kill, but I did. And now down to ordinary Ironborn archers from Greyjoy. Just a reminder, of course, we are on full damage. We're not doing anything ridiculous. I won't deny that sometimes it does cross my mind that maybe it would be a better idea if I didn't give the enemy a fighting chance, but really that's what Warband's all about, is whatever you want it to be, and I definitely don't want it to be something that I cheese my way through. As it is now, more reinforcements coming in, more men sent to die, and I thought the siege would end by now, but apparently it will go on, and so I'm not leaving. We're doing fine. There are so many levies and veteran spearmen and the like in this group that there's no way. I think just the Unsullied that are here could probably take off the rest of them, but that's not going to stop me from trying to level up Martin Snow in a big way. And maybe get him a new record for his kills. You see that mounted Dornish archer? That is one of Oberyn Martell's, you can be sure of it. I know this because nobody else at this stage of the siege would possibly have upper tier units. And then we were attacked by a guy with a dagger, not the best thing to do in general. But, as I said before, I'm pretty sure we are going to be okay. Of course, our men are not invulnerable, but with the strong prevalence of curved swords and just daggers and other things in the Dornish army, made up for by javelins, but they're not really using them in the siege most of the time, or they already lost all of them. But it looks like, yes, far from being over, we have killed 850 men. And still they come to die at our hand. And this is why the AI is not very good at sieging castles. Of course, it just goes straight up. But even if they tried to take any sort of other position, they would have had a worse time, just because there's so many good archery nests here. And I think Martin Snow might have himself a knighthood coming up after this battle, and a spot on the King's Guard should he so desire it. This is proving beyond the shadow of a doubt. Maybe he just wants a name change. He might get a name change too. The Snow name, of course, associated with bastardy, and as Queen I have the right to call people whatever I want to. But he might still keep the name, who knows. And marvelously, being able to hold off this siege. How many men are dead now? Can't even stop to look. Too busy swinging maces, and up to 355 weapon proficiency. Takes a long time to build, of course, but kill a few thousand men, and it will increase over time. And luckily our troops coming through, and I think, yes, I think now we have come to the end of their reinforcements. 1,000 men. Now, Sunspear is being besieged as well, but that is just by one lord. So I'm hoping by this, now I don't know if I'm going to be able to take out the Dornishmen in the field. I don't know how my cavalry situation is. I don't know what Prince Oberyn's army is like, for one thing, because if he still has 50 or 60 cavalry, I mean, he carries around 600 men. So almost a third of the men here are his. He may have actually not suffered defeat in the game yet. It's possible with an army that size, but I did buff him extremely much, and it seems like now even more reinforcements coming in for us. But man, look how bloody all of these men are. Total professionals. And we lose a lot, and they lose much and more. 57 mounted archers, 66 mounted skirmishers. I guess the knights had all been killed before this, but wow, quite a battle that. Fucking hell. So you can see from that Oberyn Martell, due to his high training skill and such, has 106 mounted skirmishers. And still actually has 300 living men. After all the great work we did in that siege, still not enough to weaken him too much, but he is considerably weakened. Wouldn't say extremely, though, and we've got a couple levels up to distribute real quick. And over 400 in weapons skill for two-handed for Sir Felton Ironbreaker now. Very nice. And what we're going to do is see if the siege actually does continue really quick. I imagine they'll break it off. But no, well, they might be considering it. Nope, they are no longer considering it. And who is outside? Bunch of people with no men. Alright, there are 1 man on the battlefield. There are 1 man. That's what I said. And I stick to it. So we're going to be able to at least hopefully catch and release a couple of these lords, and at the very least, you know, delay their respawning a little bit, make them lose some more renown. But then, oops, running right into an Ironborn. My horse nearly getting killed by that guy with a light spear that certainly did not break. And Mildred Merlin. But for the others, knocking them out of the way pretty nicely. Planky Town, of course, no longer under siege, and Sunspear, though, something to worry about. Never mind, Paquera Valeros would never dare. But in any case, what I think I'm going to do is end the video now, and oh hell, I'm probably not going to record very soon, so I might as well fight Parquello. And shouldn't be too tough. He has a ton of sellswords, but I have the better men in general, by far. We could be all strategic about this, but what we're going to do is shoot arrows at them, and then when they keep charging at us, we're going to kill them. That is, if things went according to plan, which they did not. It is nighttime here on the battlefield. just gonna go ahead and never mind, that is not the button that I wanted. Get the archers into the shield wall and... or not the archers into the shield wall, get the infantry into the shield wall. And wait for them to charge. They have to charge. My men are shooting at them. It's implausible that they won't kill somebody. And I'm just waiting for it to happen. Surprised it hasn't happened yet. But they might be hitting somebody's shields. Might be hitting a lot of horses, but just I can't think that all of my companions are going to continue missing. Although worse things have happened. Okay, yeah, they are totally underranging it, and... and my response, of course, is to act like a complete imbecile and charge through their lines. And, well, it might have worked. Definitely had the effect of making them follow me. A large number of them peeled off to fight the cavalry. A larger number went to try to deal with the infantry shield wall, and I'm just sitting here on silver trying to kill this man-at-arms. Run him over. Not exactly how I was trying to kill him, but he's just as dead, not going to complain. And getting another wonderful horse kill. And now we're just going to go ahead and open everybody up. The 2 woundeds that we have right now are likely to be the last ones. We might have more wounded just from sellsword man-at-arms, but I'm not too worried about it. I, however, do not want all of my cavalry to charge in one by one and then leave the other 30 behind. So we're gonna wait over here for a second, let the rest of our men get a little bit closer into the battle, and then go ahead and run into the spearmen that I know to be among this formation. Because we can see their pavises from here, and getting a whole bunch of kills, and now this castle at least no longer going to be under siege. Oh, what a happy day. And I'm just glad that I both was able to survive that siege and now take out this lord. And man, Oberyn Martell's army is going to be ridiculous to deal with under any circumstances, but a few more sieges and we'll weaken him up. He, of course, is not going to have near the money that he had if he can't get his cities back. Huh, that's very kind of him. He says, I will request that they not kill you in an unmerciful way, unless you want to join me. And that was even a weirder thing because I had a negative relation with him, but... oh well, I guess he has forgiven me for that, just for not taking him prisoner. Guess he's heard bad thing about Queen Lothston. Can't imagine where these tales would come from. So that takes care of Sunspear at least, and the Planky Town now under siege once more. And I very much hope that he persists. That's actually slightly more of a problem, the Siege of Duskendale, but I can always take Duskendale back. Well, we'll just see. Prince Martel, waiting at my gates. Hopefully he will siege them, and I'll be able to finish off a good bit of strength of the Dornish, and then go and start bashing some Vale heads together. Thanks for watching and listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed that pretty epic defense of the Planky Town.